Okay, maybe an English question. Um, have you played through all the Kingdom Hearts games? And I mean, I've said this in previous interviews, but I have not played a single.
In Japan, Utada Hikaru is considered one of the most important pop singers of all time, while in the United States, Utada is mostly known for creating several theme songs for the role-playing game franchise Kingdom Hearts. Songs like Simple and Clean from Kingdom Hearts 1 have come to define Utada's artistic identity in the States. But my introduction to Utada was a bit different. Back in 2005, my best friend gave me a copy of Utada's English album, Exodus, before I was even aware that Utada was the voice behind those Kingdom Hearts theme songs. So I've always felt somewhat of a disconnect between my appreciation of Utada's music compared to most people in the States. To me, it always felt a bit jarring that someone as legendary and impactful as Utada was in Japan was mostly reduced to their work on a video game soundtrack to people in the States. Utada to me was much more than that. So for this video, I want to analyze why this disconnect exists when it comes to Utada's American presence, what it means to have a video game-centered audience as a music artist, and some of the challenges that Utada may have faced when trying to fully cross over into the American market. Let's start by establishing a bit of history. Utada Hikaru was born in New York City, with their parents being Japanese record producer Teruzane Utada and the famous Japanese enka singer Keiko Fuji. Yes, this means that Utada is what some would call a nepo baby. Half jokes aside though, this part of her story is important to note because for one, she is American, which still seems to surprise some people.
If people ask me what I do think is my hometown, I wouldn't know if it was New York or Tokyo. I guess it's like both.
Growing up, they did move back and forth between Japan and America, but Utada's Americanness is a big part of what makes their musical career so interesting. Secondly, the ties that Utada's family has to the music industry can't be ignored. Not because of the implications of nepotism, but because Utada's early start, as well as their relationship with fame, may very well have been tied to the fact that their family was in the music industry. While answering a fan question about Utada's Japanese debut album, First Love, Utada talks about how she originally regretted her career around that time, but later grew to appreciate it. Before her Japanese debut, Utada actually started off singing under the name Cubic U when she was a teenager. While in New York, they recorded an English album called Precious that was never officially released in America, and this album was actually heavily R&B influenced. It featured vocals from Jamal from the boy group Imagine, production oversight from R&B record producers such as Booker T. Jones, a song with a rap verse. She's even spoken publicly about how she prefers black music.
これはエースベースとかヨーロッパ系の聞いてたんですけど、付き合ってる仲間っていうか友達がブラック系の音楽ばっかり聞いてて、それで聞き出しちゃって、そしたらもうこっちの方が全然いいやとか思って。ブラックコンテンポラリーのやつですか？まあ最近の流行ってる普通のやってますけど、でもズルズル。
The reason the Precious album never debuted was reportedly because of label issues with Toshiba EMI. One reporter states that there was a lot of staff changes around this time and that the label was, quote, kissing up to her dad while making promises to give Utada their international debut. Utada's Cubic U era encapsulates the two things I mentioned earlier, their Americanness, her family connections to the music industry, and how those two things haven't fully quite come together in the way you'd expect. You could almost say that the shelving of this album and her eventual Japanese debut is also symbolic of how most of her career would go as a Japanese pop star, trying to bridge the gap between her American influences. In 1999, Utada made her debut as an artist in the Japanese market with her first Japanese language album, First Love. The album was a blend of 90s style R&B ballads and turn of the millennium pop music. This album was a smash success and remains the greatest selling Japanese album in music history. Utada was now seeing massive success ranging from commercials, sold out concerts, and even their own radio show called Tres Bien Bohemian, where they got to DJ their favorite music and interview popular music artists. This included Bon Jovi, Amel LaRue, one of the pioneers of neo-soul who Utada says had a major impact on her, and even the influential R&B artist Aaliyah, once again giving Utada an outlet to express her American influences to a Japanese audience, serving as a bridge between two worlds.
I was born in New York, I was born in Brooklyn, but I was raised in Detroit, Michigan. So we moved there when I was about 5 years old. So it's where most of my life is spent, and now I'm back home, so it feels good.
Yeah, home is, I'm going to be returning to New York from September to go to college.
Okay, where are you going to go?
Fast forward from her sold-out Bohemian Summer 2000 tour to the release of her sophomore album Distance to even a collaboration song with rapper Foxy Brown on the Rush Hour soundtrack, and Utada was now the hottest J-pop artist out. Her transition to the Japanese market was a certified success.
Glad to have the opportunity to perform for the audience here in Japan, but I think that having a reason to do the show and a reason to perform makes it even easier.
Well, I was just kind of blown away by the sudden fame and that my debut brought, but I could only look at the negative sides of it. But this concert came along, and I thought it's just a great way to use my fame. So I hope it'll give a positive impact.
But because I don't want this history lesson to go on too long, let's skip ahead a tiny bit to what I personally feel is Utada's magnum opus, their 2002 album, Deep River. Utada's first two Japanese albums were deeply rooted in R&B and Y2K era pop sounds, but Deep River is when they made the transition from wearing their Mary J. Blige influences on their sleeve to becoming closer to an experimental pop artist, similar to the likes of Bjork and Imogen Heap. This album has Utada venturing into house music with songs like Traveling. She gives us dreamy, atmospheric ballads with songs like Sakura Drops, and songs like ASAP and Shiawase ni Naro still give us that upbeat R&B pop blend that Utada was originally known for. This is my favorite Utada album, and in my opinion, her most definitive. And there is one track on this album that would eventually be another landmark for the next phase of her career. Hikari, also known in America as Simple and Clean. Simple and Clean / Hikari is another experimental pop ballad from the Deep River album. This track would eventually be used as the main theme for Kingdom Hearts 1. The success of Kingdom Hearts and the inclusion of Simple and Clean would play a major role in exposing Utada to a wider American audience. Ironically though, her next attempt at crossing over would not be as simple. You see, Utada signed a new American record deal with Island Def Jam in March 20th, 2002. Kingdom Hearts came out in America on September 17th, 2002, and it was already out in Japan March of that year as well. This is important to note because it implies that Simple and Clean was not necessarily the core reason behind her new American record deal. In fact, funny enough, the collaboration Utada did with Foxy Brown on the Rush Hour soundtrack may be the actual catalyst for how she got her new record deal in the States, as the person who signed her, Leor Cohen, was the executive producer on that soundtrack. Leor Cohen talked about how his intentions were to set Utada up with big-name producers like the Neptunes and Timbaland, and hopefully have the album out by late 2002 or early 2003. However, Utada was not only newly married, but also had major health issues around this time, and this pushed the album back to 2004. So between 2002 and 2004, there was a huge gap where Utada did not release a new album. The only significant exposure they had to the American market was the Kingdom Hearts theme, Simple and Clean. And this is what I believe changed the course of Utada's crossover potential. And there's several ways to look at this. For one, it's very hard to know whether the Western division and the Japanese division of Utada's team were intentionally trying to align her Island Def Jam record deal with the release of Kingdom Hearts 1. There isn't much information on that side of things, but these kinds of things do happen in the music industry. Regardless, whether the timing was intentional or not, because Utada's debut was delayed anyway, they were not able to pivot and take advantage of the momentum from Simple and Clean. So for 2 years in America, Utada was mainly just being exposed to a video game-centric audience. I've talked extensively on this channel about the challenges that can come with being introduced to a video game-centric audience. But in 2002 America especially, the same type of person playing Kingdom Hearts might not necessarily be the same type of person trying to dig deeper into an R&B singer that was being called the Japanese Britney Spears.
That in Japan, you're basically like Britney Spears when you walk down the street.
Add to the fact that there was not much Asian American representation in the music space, and you have a really steep hill to climb. Utada herself said in an interview with MTV, "People do ask me if I think I can make it in the States. I don't think it's the music that I'm concerned about. It's obviously that I look really different and there really aren't any completely Asian people who are popular singers in the United States right now." And yes, the K-pop industry has boomed in the last decade, but for a long time before that, and even now to a certain extent, J-pop and K-pop artists trying to get American exposure have mostly been relegated to anime conventions or Asian music-specific spaces, as opposed to being exposed to a more wider general audience. To my knowledge, Utada has not performed in these types of spaces, possibly because their team is highly aware of the optics, but more likely because her legacy as an artist, even in her home country alone, affords her much better opportunities. There is an exception to this that kind of counts that we'll discuss later though. With all of that said, let's get into how Utada navigated their next attempt at crossing over into the American market with their 2004 English album, Exodus. Exodus was a very experimental album. We see Utada singing over polyrhythmic hip-hop production on tracks like Exodus 04. We get dark, mid-tempo electronica on tracks like Animado. And there's, of course, the infamous, upbeat, sexually suggestive single, Easy Breezy. The album did not perform very well commercially, and Utada attributes this to a few things: lack of label support, the health issues that caused the album to be delayed, and the experimental nature of the album itself, which she has said she leaned into because of the lack of label support. And to tie this back to the Kingdom Hearts issue, Simple and Clean was not on the Exodus album. It would not be included on an album until Utada's 2009 release titled This Is the One, 7 years after the release of Kingdom Hearts 1. And on top of that, it was only included as a bonus track, alongside the song Sanctuary, which was Utada's second theme song for the Kingdom Hearts series on Kingdom Hearts 2. All of this heavily implies that there was not much synchronicity between Island Def Jam and Square Enix/Disney when it came to using the popularity of Kingdom Hearts to help with Utada's American crossover. There's a lot of things that happened after this. Utada went on a couple more tours, including an American tour and a final Japanese tour, went on a long hiatus, and their mother tragically passed away as well. Again, this is not a biographical video though, so the next big question is, where does Utada stand with their American audience today, and how has Utada navigated that? In 2016, Utada ended their hiatus, and the music climate is now very different from when Utada first started. All of their post-hiatus Japanese albums are pretty much international releases because of how streaming now makes music more globally accessible compared to the physical-only releases that we used to get in the past that limited people's exposure to foreign artists. This finally leads us to a major redefining era for Utada's career, the release of their bilingual Japanese and English album, Bad Mode.
Well, he's a boy and he's gay. And it's the month of June, and I'm non-binary, so happy Pride Month. Got to say it before the end of the month. 6月は世界中でプライドマン
In 2021, Utada came out as non-binary. They've stated that they aren't hung up on pronouns, but also have stated that they were tired of being asked if they were Miss or Mrs. This was a huge statement as far as their identity goes, and Utada's album Bad Mode would be the album that not only focused on their relationship with identity and self, but in my opinion is the global album release that they've deserved this entire time. Bad Mode literally and figuratively represents Utada's true coming out moment internationally. The album itself sees Utada getting much more vulnerable about topics ranging from relationships to even drug use. The rollout for Bad Mode sees Utada doing an interview with Zane Lowe, Utada's first English interview in years up to that point. They had a performance at Coachella with Asian American music label 88 Rising, and Pitchfork, arguably the biggest website for music criticism, actually did a review of the album, making it the first time they ever reviewed an Utada album. These milestones read more like something you'd see happening with a new up-and-coming indie artist instead of an iconic pop star. But maybe that's the kind of crossover success that makes the most sense for Hiki. Not only were they now being acknowledged in the States beyond just their Kingdom Hearts theme songs, but it was happening in a way that contrasted with Utada's legendary pop idol status in Japan. In that sense, Utada's journey is a bridge between alternative and pop status, a bridge between two countries from Manhattan Bridge to Japan. Comment if you have thoughts. Support if you like and subscribe to support. It's Jiikae. Peace out.